Hello, I am the current Command Sergeant Major of the Army Special Operations Command, Alexis 13480. If my position or role could be a food, I would say a baklava. Baklava is a dessert that has many layers, just like it does with being the CSM. Being a CSM requires a lot of attention to detail and knowing what's going on in each part of the command, layer by layer. I would definitely say that I am the link to enlisted personnel as a part of being the Command Sergeant Major. You always need to know what's going on in each division and keeping tabs on it. You also learn this in Sergeant Major Academy with keeping constant communication between staff and personnel. I am there to relay the ideas of command staff to the other parts of ASOC as needed and to receive the ideas from other parts of ASOC to give them to command staff. I strive to consistently engage with staff and personnel, whether through direct interactions or the use of feedback forms, and I serve as a role just to, at all levels for enlisted staff positions to keep our channels going and keep communication open. I would say I provide constructive criticism as necessary to CHICOM, as they are our future of ASOC and may one day be in a similar position to mine. You want to provide them with feedback to help them know what they're doing and what to improve and build upon. Feedback also depends on the situation and the scenario itself, such as, for example, when new CSMs are appointed, I immediately sit them down and provide them a rundown of their duties and what to expect. I then, monitor them for the next few weeks and give feedback as necessary. In terms of when situations or scenarios arise and the command staff, us, have to intervene, although it's not really always the leadership or HICOM's fault, we sit them down, discuss, what could they've done better and what steps they could have taken to prevent this. One thing that I always say is never to cut corners in the work you do to make it go faster. You will ruin the momentum of all the effort you've put forth if you cut a corner to save time. Currently, I would say we have been discussing the possibility of reviving the ASOC deployment and raid team. The purpose of this team was to gather the best talent from ASOC and have them in one group. They were given special privileges, such as being picked first on deployments when member caps were present, as well as being chosen for their specialized roles in any deployments. We also have been working alongside certain divisional staff on new courses that will be introduced in the future, which will give people the chance to earn more badges for their pinks and greens. Lastly, we have been having the development team work on making new games for some of our courses and updating them, as well as making our very own war games map to keep things interesting and expand upon the number of war games maps that there is. I would like to thank Farewells for that especially. The division that is currently performing the least in ASOC is SOAR. I have been personally reassigned from overseeing ASF to SOAR. Currently, I've been having them generate ideas themselves in SOAR HICOM, as well as gathering opinions from lower rank staff and personnel on potential ideas, and we are aiming to identify which ones are viable and which ones are not. We have some upcoming changes planned for the near future, which will likely be released this Sunday, in fact. Some of these changes involve quota, how events are hosted, and the variety of events. We've also thought of a staff handbook being introduced, considering that a significant number of their staff are new, so it can serve as a guide for them and provide a foundation for training future staff. We will also be currently monitoring staff and educating them on their jobs if they're not performing to the standards that we expect. There's also some other stuffs in the work, but I cannot disclose it at this time. Before Nir Ovo was promoted to the Director of Army Staff, our primary goal was to make ASOC more elite and sharpen our skill set, and we did this by upping our standards. We conducted a lot of combative evaluations and a variety of evaluations to people, as well as changing how the schools were run. Naturally, because of this, our activity declined, and some people disagreed with what we were doing. The trade-off and ultimate goal for this was so that our skill set would improve. I would say currently that this trade-off has worked, as you can see now with the ongoing USAR-wide war games, that it will be an overall victory between ASF and 75th, meaning ASOC no matter what will win. To this day, we continue on to work on improving our skills, and with the USR War Games actually going on, it has boosted our activity because we see a lot of people getting excited to practice and hone their skills in hopes of winning overall. And we hope with the victory of ASOC overall, it helps us gain tension regardless and bring in more combat-ready personnel. So far, we have seen that MILSIM currently is growing bigger in ASOC. As an example, in ASF, specifically within 5th Special Forces Group, they have transitioned from being just one company with MILSIM into their entire group being MILSIM. There has also been discussions about possibly a company in the 75th Ranger Regiment adopting MILSIM. I myself am actively testing and learning about MILSIM, as I recently participated in a NATO operation. We had a member cap on this, so only certain members were allowed, primarily from ASF, but there were some members of SOAR and 75th in attendance. It was overall a success as we wanted, and a lot of people came back to me and said that they genuinely enjoyed it and praised it. As well as this, in the 𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐃 feedback forums that we currently have going on, I have seen people suggest more MILSIM, and so I plan to revisit NATO and inquire about planning additional operations in the future to grow more MILSIM. If I had the opportunity to become the commanding general of ASOC for one day, obviously if there are any serious situations or significant proposals to be handled, I would of course do that. But for fun, if I were to become the commanding general of ASOC for a day, I would immediately tell the command sergeant major of SF Elijah Williams and the quartermaster Sergeant Major Fade to hop on base and get into their PT gear after having them salute me for becoming a superior commissioned officer. I would say this because Elijah is always telling everyone at ease, and Fade continuously laughs at me for having to do a CSM report. I would then, for fun, ping all of ASOC to make them watch Elijah and Fade do their PT, and afterwards we could either probably have a giant propaganda photo shoot and have a patrol, or party at the Stars and Stripes Forever Club. For my final thoughts, especially I want to give this out to ASOC personnel and USR personnel. As ASOC command staff, we are more so meant to be teachers and overseers rather than directly going into situations, as we want to raise up the future generation, let staff have the chance to handle situations. However, that is not to say we will be passive. We intervene as needed in situations to guide staff and solve the issue once and for all. If at any time you need us, our DMs are always open if you feel there's a situation that is too big or that you cannot entrust to your staff. We will always be here for you if you need us. You just have to tell us. And please feel free to consider joining ASOC to become the best of the best. Thank you for this interview. I hope you also have a great day.